production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you. From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.
This time on Broad and High, a painting instructor shows us how to make some happy little trees.
Now, I used to always watch Bob Ross. I mean, it was just like, who did it?
Commemorate 100 years of women's suffrage with a visit to the Ohio History Center. We highlight a magazine that survived for the past 70 years by essentially staying the same. And Push Me Pull You brings their accordion to the WOSU studio. This and more right now on Broad and High. Hi everyone, I'm Broad and High producer Jackie Schaefer, filling in this week for Kate Quickle. Thanks for joining us. The joy of painting was a staple of public television in the 1980s and early 90s and featured one of the most recognizable personalities on TV. Bob Ross brought his oil painting technique and his trademark perm to would-be artists who wanted to try their hand at painting his happy little trees. Though he died in 1995, the popularity of Bob Ross still endures. And for those who seek to master his challenging wet-on-wet technique, there are certified painting instructors like Central Ohio's Kathleen Shepard here to help you out.
So today I'm going to be doing one of Bob Ross's ovals. It was called Northern Lights. And it's really cool the way he does these things. See how easy this is? So when you're done painting the inside of this, you pull off the paper and it's really cool.
This is always the time that I look forward to.
Now, I used to always watch Bob Ross. I mean, it was just like, who didn't? You know, it was like, how does he do that in 30 minutes? But I never once thought this is what I was going to do. Until I went to Green Bay. My sister said, I bought you a Bob Ross class. And so I took it, and I'm like, I could do that. I know I can. So I went to Florida, the Bob Ross Studios in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and I got certified in landscape. So if you're a certified Ross instructor, that means that you can go out and you can teach Bob Ross painting classes. So the Bob Ross technique, well, first of all, he's a very unconventional painter, and a lot of people shunned him for this. But he uses big brushes, 2-inch brushes, 1-inch brushes. Bob doesn't go out and give you purple, and he has crimson, alizarin crimson, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, black, white, and Indian yellow, sap green, and phthalo green, I believe is what it is. And he teaches you to mix the colors to get what you want. And I really struggled with that. Some more of your blue, but don't use it's called the wet-on-wet technique. So what he does is he puts layer upon layer upon layer of paint. And the more layers you do, the more you have to liquefy your paint, because a thin paint will stick to a thick paint. And that's what it is. So I started teaching probably late 2015. 95% of my paintings are from the Bob Ross series. He had, I think, 31 series. I have every one of his books from every one of the series. And what I do is I post his paintings on my website. And then I have to, no pressure, I have to learn how to paint it exactly like he did. No pressure. And the first thing I do is I watch his video. He does it in 30 minutes, and when you first start, there's times when I was up here 8 hours.
We can go right up in here and just cut in a happy little water line. There.
And then I get all the brushes, I put the paint out, and I do what he tells me to do. And that's how I teach my classes, as a matter of fact. My students don't care for the palette knife, but I make them use it. They all want to do mountains, but they don't care from once they start. They freak out a little bit on cabins and trees. 95% of the people, when they walk out, they're happy with their painting. You know, because I sit down with them and I teach them how to do a mountain and I walk them through it. But it's a lot to take in. We all have a little bit of stuff in our life that is keeping us busy, and I'm not saying in a good way. When I paint, especially when I teach, but when I paint, it frees my mind up of whatever's going on, and that's what I tell people that come into my classes. As long as there's people out there wanting to paint, I just want to keep on painting.
And until next time, from all of us here, I'd like to wish you happy painting, and God bless, my friend.
Kathleen Shepard is a certified Bob Ross instructor who specializes in landscapes, seascapes, and even wildlife. You can see her lineup of painting classes on her website at KathleenShepardCRI.com. She's also on Facebook and Instagram. Now it's time for another installment of Artifacts. This is where we explore some of the hidden treasures over at the Ohio History Center. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, giving many women the right to vote. Kate recently met up with Megan Wood to learn more about the fight for voting rights and how this suffrage movement was neither the beginning nor the end of women's activism.
We're here at the Ohio History Center today with Megan Wood here in this very cool library space. Can you tell me about this room?
Yeah, this is the reading room, and this is where we access our archival materials. So anything that is paper-based, if someone wants to come in and do research, you can do it in this lovely location.
So we've been talking a little bit about this. 2020 is the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote, of the 19th Amendment. And can you tell me about some of these artifacts that we're looking at here today that relate to that?
Yeah, so we have a lot of material here at the Ohio History Connection that relates to Ohio's place in the women's suffrage movement. So in Ohio in 1920, right as the amendment was being voted on by different states, Ohio has 2 presidential candidates, and so there's a lot of activity happening right here in Ohio. Ohio ratifies the amendment in June of 1919, and then for the next year, Ohio suffragists are working really hard to get it passed in 36 states.
Tell me about some of the women who were involved in this movement in Ohio at the time.
Yeah, so one of the characters I like to talk about a lot is Judge Allen, Florence Allen. She was a suffragist from the Cleveland area, and post-suffrage, right after the amendment is passed, she runs for a judge position, and she's the first woman in the country to be elected as a judge. And then she's later appointed to a federal judge. She becomes a Supreme Court judge, the first woman on a Supreme Court, and then is appointed by FDR to a federal judgeship. And she continues to serve on the bench through the 1940s into the early 50s. But one of the things that Judge Allen said as she looked around at the end of her career, she decided not to get married, she decided not to have a family. She really devoted herself to public service, and she was disappointed that there weren't a lot of other women with her. She was expecting to have more women on the bench. We tend to think of the suffragist as the woman in the white dress and the big hat.
And
the sash. So oftentimes in the images, like you see here, you see mostly white women in white dresses. Now that doesn't mean that there weren't African American women. They were being excluded oftentimes from the public expressions of suffrage and by the press. But for the activist women, they are, oftentimes middle class of some means. But when you look across the spread, there are, because the movement took so long, by the time you get to 1920, you have someone like Harriet Taylor Upton, who's in her 60s, and then you also have younger women that they're bringing up with them.
Tell me a little bit more about Haley Quinn Brown and her impact on the movement.
Yeah, so Haley Quinn Brown was born of formerly enslaved parents. They moved into Ohio. She attended Wilberforce College and did a lot of work nationally in activism, but she comes back and teaches there. She helps form the National Association of Colored Women's Clubs, and she is an activist for suffrage, important in the Republican Party. She actually stumps for Harding on his front porch. And she writes and talks about the experiences of African American women in the United States and specifically stays and works in Ohio in educating other African American women.
Wow, that's amazing.
And being able to raise up the stories of people that are lesser known in this movement. Many people have heard of Susan B. Anthony or Elizabeth Cady Stanton, but I think to recognize that there were Ohio women that were in our own communities who were fighting for this and have not been as well recognized in the history books. And I think that's the opportunity, is to uncover those stories.
Yeah, to shine that light on them. That's so great.
So 1920, the amendment passes, but it's not until 1924 that American Indians have the right to vote, citizenship. And it's much later on through the 1960s where you see the progression of Asian American women being able to vote. And then with the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, abolishing the barriers that were put in place, especially in southern states. But I think one of the sort of failings of the movement is that for especially African American women who were active in, and often in their own groups, segregated from white women, in obtaining the right to vote, is that when the structural racism made it impossible for African American women to vote, the large group of organized suffragists were not there.
They didn't hold them up.
Right. They didn't place their bodies, you know, like they did in front of the White House to make sure that everyone had the right to vote. You know, this movement started as universal suffrage and the abolition of slavery. So that was some of the disappointment.
So we're careful to commemorate this anniversary rather than celebrate? Is that something that?
Yeah, we've been using the language of commemoration. So it gives us the space to have these conversations. And I think it helps us look at, you know, our own actions in the present world and how do we do things differently and how do we learn from those mistakes.
Right. What's something that you want someone to take away from this today that they might learn and kind of apply it to their life in today's society?
I think probably the most important thing is to go out and vote, to register to vote, to learn a little bit about the candidates, and to vote. I think that when you study these types of movements and you see how hard and for how long people fought to vote, that it's hard to take it for granted. It's hard to not be emotional about it. I'm sort of a history nerd and sometimes I cry a little bit when I vote, but I feel like, you know, someone fought really hard that I have this opportunity. And so I think that's a really important message. And we've been working with the League of Women Voters of Ohio, getting that message out as well.
That's wonderful. That's so valuable, and you're right, it's easy to take that for granted.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I'm excited for people to come and see the exhibit here and the traveling exhibit as well.
Yeah, thanks so much.
The Ohio History Connection is hosting a year-long commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. Ohio Women Vote, 100 Years of Change is a traveling exhibit that will make stops across the state, from Steubenville to Summit County. Visit ohiohistory.org to see when it will be in a location near you. The latest band to join us for our local music series is Push Me, Pull You, and frontwoman Erica Holycross proves that the accordion deserves a rightful place in the world of rock. This soulful Americana band from Columbus recently joined us in the WOSU studio to perform their song, Cornflower Blue.
I never cared for the color till you told me about your tattoo. The one you would have worn on your shoulder if you thought you were young enough to. Ocean indigo sky midnight, flash from a wing as it's just taking flight. I've seen the purest painter's delight reflected in your eyes. Cornflower blue, cornflower blue, cornflower blue. Wrestling with the past again, wondering how to proceed. Sometimes standing still is the best way to fight. Sometimes you don't need anything. Cornflower blue, cornflower blue, cornflower blue. Oh, I never cared for the color shoulder, the one you would have worn on your shoulder, the one you would have worn on your shoulder. Cornflower blue, 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 cornflower blue.
Keep up with Push Me Pull You by following them on Facebook, and see more of their music videos by visiting wosu.org/localtunes. If you're a frequent listener to our radio station 89.7 NPR or our weekly political roundtable program, Columbus on the Record, then you might be familiar with the voice of Andy Chow. He's a reporter with the Ohio Public Radio and Television State House News Bureau, and he brings us this next story about a beloved children's magazine based right here in Columbus.
That infectious laugh belongs to Josie Bailey. She's a rambunctious 4-year-old who loves playing with her younger brother in her backyard just outside of Columbus. It's sometimes a challenge, though, to get Josie to slow down and take a break. But one thing that manages to capture her attention is a magazine.
It's so pretty.
It's called High Five, and it's the younger sister publication to the long-running Highlights magazine.
Josie will look at the same magazine every day and find new stuff. She gets really excited just recognizing different animals in the magazine.
Mouses and foxes and bunnies and birdies.
Josie really loves taking a marker or pen, and she likes to draw her own illustrations.
He has 2 eyeballs in there.
Something that the Baileys love is that they also read Highlights growing up.
I think the coolest thing about Highlights magazine is it still looks the same, it still feels the same, so whereas a lot of other things have kind of changed over time, I feel like they're enjoying the same magazine that we enjoyed as kids.
And hopefully they'll turn out as great as us.
That same look and feel Mallory describes isn't an accident.
There are certain things that appear in every issue of Highlights. We call those our legacy features, and they're non-negotiable. They're in each issue. So for example, we always have a hidden picture in every issue of Highlights. In fact, there's been a hidden picture in every issue of Highlights since June 1946, the very first one.
You heard it right. June 1946, nearly 75 years ago, Highlights debuted its first magazine and its longest-running feature, Hidden Pictures, the visual puzzle that pushes kids to focus and find small pictures inside a larger scene. And that's not the only feature to stay consistent for generations. Still, in every issue is the Timbertoes, a simple illustrated story centered around a wood-carved family, which debuted in Highlights in 1951. And of course, the wholesome Goofus and Gallant, a comic featuring 2 contrasting characters, Goofus modeling bad behavior and Gallant modeling good. They first appeared in the pages of Highlights in 1948 and are still a legacy feature today.
Goofus and Gallant in 1951, Goofus and Gallant in 2019. There's an evolution in animation and everything, but there's still a very common theme between the 2 of them.
Part of its appeal to young children is its lack of ambiguity. I mean, it's a little black and white. It's practice for the big, harder moral decisions that are going to come later. Yeah, I love that kids still love it today.
We're always aspiring to be our Gallant, but also if I do something that's a little Goofus, how do I make up for it? How do I apologize? How do I make things right?
Highlights CEO Kent Johnson knows a thing or two about Goofus and Gallant. His great-grandfather, Dr. Gary Cleveland Myers, created the comic and founded Highlights magazine with his wife, Caroline, just after World War II.
I like to say I did everything I could in my life to not join the family business, and I failed at it.
According to Johnson, the mission of the business he runs today, headquartered in Columbus, has essentially stayed the same.
We have to be dynamic, we have to adapt to what's going on in the world, and yet the foundational values and principles, our commitment to children remains the same as it was at day one.
Something else that hasn't changed, according to Johnson? Kids.
I think adults believe that everything's changed for kids. You know, the world's changed so quickly, like being a child now is got to be so different. You know, we've got devices and it's busy and all of these things, but what we know is kids still have some of the same issues they've had since 1946. How do I get along with my siblings? What happens when I have a falling out with my best friend? Those things are universal. Those things aren't changing.
And French Collie says Highlights knows kids well, not through consultants or focus groups, but by communicating directly with them, the old-fashioned way.
How do you find out what kids want to see?
One of the things we do that I think is the best way to keep our fingers on the pulse of our readers is that we answer every letter and email we get from children, and we've done that for years. You might be surprised to see the kinds of letters we get from kids. They write to us about their deeply held hopes and dreams and fears. It's as if we are their really very best friends. We learn a lot about kids from what kids tell us. I think we really are the publisher with the most authentic dialogue with kids.
Rather than take their word for it, we decided to visit our own panel of experts.
We're talking about Highlights magazines. Has anybody seen Highlights magazine before? Yeah? Well, we have a bunch of Highlights magazines for you to read today. And then after a little bit, we're gonna talk to you a little bit more. Does that sound good to you? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Miss Burkhalter's third grade class at Evening Street Elementary School, not too far from Highlights headquarters, had a lot to say about the magazine.
Come look at it. I learned about this sea slug because I didn't know about this yet. I liked how it has like articles, and then it also has like stuff that you can like make, and it has like little word searches. I like Goofus and Gallant because Goofus shows you him misbehaving and Gallant is showing you how to behave. They always have a couple silly things in there. There's also some serious things, like, I don't know, this is funny.
But they were pretty unanimous about what they liked best.
I like the hidden pictures. There's the butterfly back there. Well, I like them because you have to like focus like on the little things instead of just the big things around. For the hidden pictures, it's not easy. Like it's not in like a corner, it's like in people or like on people. It's challenging and it's fun.
Hidden Pictures, the longest running feature in the magazine, was also the most popular among this crowd. Miss Burkhalter's class was no stranger to the magazine. In fact, it's been a familiar sight in classrooms and in doctors' offices by design since the 1950s.
So the dentist's office, the school program, those were ways to reach kids where they are.
But being where the kids are in an increasingly digital world means expanding beyond the physical pages of a magazine.
We get to play games the majority of our day, so can't complain about that. In terms of digital, we definitely bring the same experience that the magazine brings to life in a digital format. We are creating those deeply engaging, fun, enriching experiences. It just happens to be in a different medium.
Highlights has 2 websites, a podcast, a handful of apps, and is further expanding its digital presence. One feature that's translated seamlessly to digital media.
See how bad I am at it.
That's right, Hidden Pictures.
We've seen through a lot of companies who find success in evolving and growing, but there's also this push-pull of not straying too far from your original message, not straying too far. So how do you deal with that push-pull?
So I often say inside the company, I say, we're not a magazine company. And in fact, we never were. People look at me and they say, what are you talking about? You started as a magazine. And I think the founders were about the impact they wanted to have on children. So if we keep in mind that we're not committed to magazines, we're not committed to a particular channel, we're not committed to a certain product type or technology, what we're committed to is making a positive impact on children, that frees us up to think, what has to stay the same? Certain values, certain beliefs about children stay the same. Everything else can change.
Oh, I like this.
That's our show. Remember, you can find all of our stories you might have missed at WOSU.org, as well as on our free WOSU mobile app. And be sure to give us a follow on social. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're closing the show today with more music by Push Me, Pull You. For all of us here at WOSU, I'm Jackie Schaefer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here next week.
To a place that sits right on the edge of all that I knew. When I got there, it was open but empty, and all of my hurts turned to drops of smoke and glass as it fell on the earth. It's lost, and sometimes we fail. My heart was still beating underneath the ground. More than some gray hair, your hands really show your age. Every fine line increase, every beautiful turquoise vein. And the ones that you've held, all the ones lost on the way. And bruised, worn by all of those words you just could not say. What's lost, sometimes we fail. My heart was still beating.
Production of Broad and High is funded in part by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, supporting arts, advancing culture, and connecting the community to artists, events, and classes at columbusmakesart.com.
PNC, committed to Central Ohio, for the achiever in you. From these contributing sponsors and viewers like you, thank you.